3 months ago, my game looked like this. This is it now. The first change I made was adding bigger patterns. After some playtests, I found that the patterns I was using were really hard to read on the playdate. I used a built-in pattern system with which I could just draw everything with the chosen pattern. This function only uses sprites with a resolution of 8x8. I wanted to update the patterns with once twice their size, but I just couldn't figure out how, so I didn't. Every pattern you see in game now is separately pre-drawn. Speaking of scaling things up, I also made new player and enemy sprites. To make them more readable, I also removed borders around the countdowns and made it so they stop showing progress while blinking. With these changes, I think the game is already much more readable. I can't just have enemies pop into existence out of nowhere, so I added this nice tween sliding in animation. It is making use of the animator function together with an easing function, which I found to be very helpful to making things seem more alive. I also tried adding easing to the player, so it would take a second for the player to catch up with the crank, but I found it to feel very sluggish and unresponsive. I might come back to that idea though for a potential accessibility feature in which you would use the keypad and A and B key to move the player. For a helpful overview for the animator function, I recommend everything about Playdate SDK animators by SquidCode. To give the player feedback for catching and releasing bullets, and to also signal the passing bullets, I added directional recoil and also these duck hunt inspired effects I wanted to add since starting development. I think they give the game a lot of personality. I might have to tone them down a bit if I find them to be too annoying. I have already been toying with the idea of dynamically toning down or even replacing the effect with something else if it is used in rapid succession. Originally, I planned on having completely pre-scripted enemy spawns, only varying by patterns and rotations, inspired by Devil Daggers. I found that approach was just too constraining and also got boring fast, so I came up with a lighter version of the same idea. In the old system, I had one big file which contained all enemy spawning timings. The new system uses many small files, which each contain a bite-sized interaction, which are sorted by difficulty. I balance the different difficulties by having set times for the average of actions. At the beginning, enemies take about 4 seconds to do something, after that 2, then 1, and then finally 0.5 seconds. The game mixes and matches these interactions to create a smooth difficulty curve. At the end, a very difficult set of enemy spawns will repeat forever. I also finally added decimal points. Now, together with the new spawning animations, I'm able to make much more natural spawning schedules. With the new system, there would sometimes happen a bug where an enemy would get spawned twice. This happened because I checked for a certain amount of time to pass to spawn an enemy. And the timer I used had decimal places that, if rounded, sometimes ended up as the same number multiple times, which would spawn the same enemy for multiple frames. I fixed this by making sure that every enemy gets flagged as spawned after it first being created. With the new infinite spawning approach, counting down like before doesn't make much sense, so I'm just gonna go the other way, that being a normal second base timer. A classic score, for example catching bullets, wouldn't really be fair because of the different potential enemy intervals. Before all these new fancy fixes, I actually almost lost hope for the game. I procrastinated by working on the menu. To define options for the menu, I have named lists which contain all the options for the set category. I figured out that I could put a function directly into the options, so doing the right action is as easy as just calling the action of the current selected option. If I change the options by, for example, selecting an undercategory, I can just make the function change the current options to the ones of the undercategory. To then display the current options, I can just increment through them and draw them a little offset of each other. I also added this custom banner banners, which you could unlock for reaching certain milestones. Now with the new Infinite game, I'm actually still not totally sure what to do with them. I still want to keep them. I think they are a great way to drip feed progression into an else fruitless arcade game. I'm probably just gonna give them for reaching certain stages of the game, with the exception of some fun interactions.
Baby, wenn du willst, dann werde ich Opernsänger, nur für dich und deine Eltern. Wenn ihr wollt, kommt vorbei in die Oper, ich hab noch paar Karten umsonst da. La 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 la, Figaro, Figaro, la la la.
Right now, I can actually see this being a fun game. I'm planning on having a set amount of pre-made spawning modules per difficulty that I am finishing up on right now. I would really love to release the game for the playdate catalog, but first I will have to tidy up the game. My game still needs a finished and polished menu, tutorial, game over screen and sound effects I have been putting off until now. Well, actually I tried adding sound effects, but I'm still really bad at them. I also still need music. I don't think it's gonna be realistic to make it myself at my current skill level, so I may be hiring an artist for that. I think with development finally speeding up now, it's gonna be plausible to finish this game the next few weeks. So you will probably be hearing from me again soon. Yeah, okay, love you guys. Don't forget to smile.
I had to get out here and straighten this shit up, nigga, get this shit to hard. You know what I mean? I had to figure this shit out, nigga, you know what I mean?